Everybody got food, drinks? All right. Ryan, we good? What do you think? All right, here we are. Thanks for coming again. If a lot of you are repeats, that's great. My name's Leo. I manage this store. Lucky me. And those chips good? Are they amazing? Great. We're gonna talk to Jessi Goldstein today. This is someone who when I first came here after being out of the country for a few years, Jessi's one of the first people I saw. Not hard to recognize her when you see her. You'll know why. Great hair. And I've always been curious of how she has the energy and the ability to be everywhere she is all the time. It's incredible. So it's going to be, I think, a great story to hear how she came into this community, what drives her to be such an active part of it, and hopefully we can learn enough about her so that we can maybe support her a little bit in the future, which would be great. This series called the Exchanging Experiences podcast is something that has been really incredible. The Runners of the Bay podcast years, I guess, Mimi and Bridget have done an incredible job of helping us pull amazing stories out of different community members, and we'll keep going forward. Every fourth Wednesday of the month is when we'll be doing this. Lucky you get to hear from me next time, so that'll be boring. And then we'll try to find some better and more interesting candidates for the future. I give them some. If anybody knows, that's another thing. Our live audience, our virtual audience. If you know anybody that you think should be up here telling an amazing story, we'd love to hear who they are. With that said, please follow us on our socials and on our calendar on our website at SFRunco to see what else we have coming down the pipeline, which is quite a bit apparently. So, I think with that said, I'd like to have Jessi come on up and have a seat. And then Mimi and Bridget from Runners of the Bay come take it over from me. They get to share a mic, by the way. There you go.
A tiny mic. I feel like one of those influencers that has the tiny mic.
I just want to call out that it was her birthday yesterday. I know. So happy birthday. Yeah. Unless you didn't want people to know.
No, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I was like, I know. You already put it out there, so yeah.
Aw, thank you. And we were just talking, so Taylor Swift is coming to town this weekend, and I'm going, Bridget may go. We're planning our outfit, so if anyone has any tips or suggestions on what era we should be, we'll take it. We're taking that feedback. But we're so happy to be here with you, Jessi.
Yeah.
Jessi's been at every single one of these, and is just, I think, as Leo mentioned, such a joy, such a light in this running community. So now she's in the hot seat. If you guys have been here before, you should know Jessi asks all the questions, and so she expects the same of you.
My friend Debbie actually was like, who's going to be interrupting the whole time? You're the one that's being interviewed. So yeah, so someone else, feel free.
Also, hi to Jessi's mom.
Yeah.
Hi to Kati, who is apparently joining us from Estonia. Yeah. So we love you. All right, let's get started. So Jessi, tell us a little bit about what brought you to running.
I was not athletic at all as a kid. I was actually, my friend Peach, I heard her say this term, it was adult onset runner, which is exactly what I was. So
amazing.
I had run kind of periodically just on the treadmill. This was in my 30s for the wrong reasons. I'm like, oh, I need to lose weight. It's my wedding or something like that. But it wasn't really, it was just doing cardio. And then I moved here, and it was kind of the first. So I should preface, the treadmill running was in New Jersey, which is not as scenic, So I moved here, and I was I met some friends at my work that ran at lunch once a week. We had locker rooms in our office, so I started kind of running with them once a week. And then the running outside, it was running along the Embarcadero. It was oh, this is really awesome. So just short distances, and then of course I, got all the injuries that you get when you first start running. So I was constantly injured, so it was never consistent. And then I went through like a bad breakup, and I was coincidentally like started training for my first half marathon. And I found that when I was running, like stuff just felt like more okay, right? Like I was going through this like tough time, and I was like, oh, I ran, I like feel better, like mentally. So that kind of became the reason that I was doing it, like mental, not for these like what I call the wrong reasons. It was like, oh, I'm like trying to like lose weight or something like that, which is like not a reason that you're gonna like stick with running. So I kind of started to become more consistent, again, like dealing with injuries. And then I met my friend Debbie, who, oh, she's probably the other one that's like watching.
Hi,
right
Debbie.
Now. And she kind of like is known for sort of like hijacking you as like her workout buddy, and then she will just make you do stuff. So I had only done a half marathon, and she's like, we should do an ultra. And I was like the North Face 50K. And I was like, I haven't like run a marathon before, maybe I should do that. So I actually did a trail marathon as like part of training for that. And then just being it like, it was, I think when I kind of started going to like trail runs, and you just saw it was like very different than a road race, and it was just like all different kinds of people, like all ages, like all physical types that are just like out there like doing it, having fun, and I just like loved that vibe. So I do like road running, I still like it. I like road races too, but I just like, it was like that trail running vibe, and like it was so welcoming, and just like, you're like, oh, I can do this. You get to walk a little bit, like, you know, if it's like a hill, like, yeah, there was like, yeah, really good snacks. So that was like kind of how it started. And then it's like that typical, like, oh, I did a 50K, I eventually want to do a 50 miler, and then 100K. But I did do it over years. It wasn't like I did it all like just in 1 year, where I was kind of, which some people do. So I definitely did it gradually up to, and then up to 100 miler. So yeah, so.
We all need Debbies. I feel like Debbie.
Oh
like
yeah, she was
Debbie
good.
is
Yeah,
like
she was like, yeah, she was just like, she would just say these things. And you're like, I guess that's like a good idea. Sure, why not? So yeah, so she, and it's, yeah, she kind of was the one that, she definitely got me to do my first ultra. So yeah, when we did it together, which we don't do anymore. Now we're like, yeah, friends are for the finish line. Like you can see each other when you're done. But we did that one together, so it was like, it was fun. We had a good time. So. Yeah.
Was it in training for that you found this community? When did you find SFRC?
It was kind of, yeah, it was like sort of around the same time, like, so when SFRC first started and they had like the Saturday run, it was my other friend, I don't know if Debbie was there, but my other friend Josh, the three of us used to run together. And we showed up, and it was like us and like a bunch of super fast dudes. So we were just like, yeah, it's fine. Like we knew where we were going, and then like they took off, and then we felt so bad. They were like waiting for us at Tennessee Valley, because we're just like like talking, and we were like, no, don't wait for us. So, but I started doing those like Saturday runs, and then at that time there was, you know, maybe 10 people. There weren't like a lot. I didn't do all of them because I was living in the city at the time, but just started kind of doing those more. And then I met, Ted, I don't remember when we met, but we started doing like the Ninja Run on we started doing TAM on Tuesdays and Ninja Run on Thursdays.
I met you at Western State's training weekend.
Oh, is that when we met?
You didn't run because you wanted to be alone.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, I was like, so I was living in the city, I had roommates, and we went up to do the training runs, and we were in this big house, and it was like raining, and I was like, I'm gonna just stay in the house, because I never got to be alone. So I didn't do the training run, I did it I think I did the second day, But yeah, so then it was like a group of us were going like Tuesdays and Thursdays. Then just like due to various like schedule changes, people getting injured, like that kind of fell off. And then I was like, I'm big into Strava, like I love Strava. I've made a lot of friends through Strava. And I saw Oscar and Sel were running from Tennessee Valley at like 4:30 in the morning. And I saw they did it like on a Thursday, like 2 weeks in a row. And I remember Oscar, I think I like commented on your Strava or something, was like, hey, are you guys doing that like every Thursday at 4:30? And he was like, yeah, sure, come join us. And I was super nervous because they're way faster than me. I like tapered. Like before, like I didn't run for 2 days before this Thursday run. I was super nervous. Yeah. And we went, and I like had the best time. And, you know, and then it kind of just, grew. So it was the three of us for a while, and then like Ace started coming, and then I just started like, I think Oscar like was bringing in like a bunch of people. At one point, I mean, some days we had like 12 or 14 people, which is crazy. It's like 4:30 in the morning on a Thursday. And we even met our friend Adam there because he was just like out running in the headlands. And we were like, who, there's somebody else out here? Like, what? And we saw this car, and then we like crossed past him on the trail, and then he started joining us. And then like, I see Bradley out there. So it, it just kind of grew from that. And like now, we had this like big group text where we still now, it's like, you guys want to run Thursday? And then we just all become like really good friends. Like everyone's like a huge like cheerleader for like, and just like life things too. So it's like, every day we're like all texting, and I just feel like so grateful for that I just like met all these awesome people. Because, if you have a group of people that are like meeting you to run every Thursday, 4:30 a.m., they're like pretty cool people. So and they made me like a better runner. So I was like, even though I'm the oldest, I was like the little like kid sister, like, wait for me, guys. But they made me like faster. And then I don't know if it was an spoken or unspoken rule, but I felt like you guys like had a thing where they would always like have someone like kind of take turns like to hang back with me to make sure I was like okay. And I was like, I'm fine, like I know where we are as long as like you're ahead. But it was like because it would kind of like switch, like, and then so they're like the best. So like, my really, really good friends now. So I feel like that was a really long, like I don't even remember what question you asked me. Like I don't even remember what you asked me, and then like now here we are. Like
It really doesn't matter.
Okay, sorry.
We just want to know everything.
Yeah, we're just prompting you to talk.
But I'm curious, like you mentioned, when you first started running, you got injured a lot.
Oh yeah.
And I think sometimes like you get injured and it's like, all right, maybe this isn't for me, or I don't want to do this. Like when you got injured, what did you do, and how did you learn to not get injured as much? We still all get injured.
I think I'm probably going to get injured like now. I mean, I
I'm so
just was
sorry.
injured before, but I feel that like a lot of the injuries, this is like not, I don't know if this is like true. This is just what I think. A lot of like when you first start running, like cardiovascularly in your like muscle, like you're strong enough to run, but your body's like, hey, hold up. Like I am not there yet. So I just felt like that was like normal. So like the first couple years, I just went through all these like various injuries, like tendonitis, like whatever. And then finally my body was like, oh, okay, this is like what we're doing now. Okay, fine. We'll let you do this most of the time. Sometimes we're not going to let you do it, but most of the time we'll let you do it. So I think like I would get injured, and when I first started though, I was like not super consistent. Like I would sign up for a race and train for the race, and then when it was over, I would maybe like not run that much. And then I do think that a lot of it became like noticing the positive like mental health aspects from it. Like I have like a little bit of anxiety. It runs in my family, like, and just like noticing like, oh, the days that I run, I feel so much better. I'm like, I'm so much nicer. I'm like a nicer person. Like I'm like nicer at work. I'm in a better mood, and it's not like it solves all the world's problems. It just made me feel like better. So I think that's a lot of like why I always like came back to it, just that it's really like, for me, like now it's so much of it is like the mental like aspect, and just like, I don't know, we just like see so much cool stuff on our runs, like every day. It's like so cool here. It's like really awesome. So yeah, like I'm the one on the run. We'll be doing like the Thursday run that we do all the time, and I'm like, oh my God, you guys, look at the sun. It's like sunrise is so cool. Like, but I really am like, that's why we're here. Like, so yeah.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that on the drive here of like, this is embarrassing. I don't know. Anyone see the Barbie movie over the weekend?
One bar.
Wait, Penn saw it.
Two bars.
Yeah.
Good.
So, this is weird. So, like the Indigo Girls, Closer to Fine is like a big part of the movie. And there's like this lyric that's like, I'm not going to sing, but it's like, we went to the...
We want you to sing.
No. You do not want me to sing. We went to the mountains. And so I'm listening to that in the car. And I'm like, why do people love the mountains? Oh, because they're so pretty. And I'm like, no wonder trail runners do what they do. They're
like,
so
seriously
pretty.
The coolest. Like, it's like really, it's like, and like just like all the like fresh air and like, you're, the sunrise looks different like every morning or sunset or whatever. Yeah, it's really cool. You should try it.
How,
You should meet us at 4:30 on a Thursday.
which would mean I'd have to get up at like 2
Yeah.
to get over here. But how did you, so you started running on roads, but then you were forced to sign up for this Trail 50K. So how did you like make the transition?
I actually did do one or two shorter. It's funny.
Okay.
So Debbie, she was the one, she ran road only. So prior to her forcing me to do the 50K, I made her do a trail run. And it was just like a 7-miler in China Camp. So we did it, and you know, we finished. She's like, yeah, that was fun, but I kind of feel like it was fun because we were, you know, just talking. And then it turned out she got like second or third in her age group, and then she's like, I love trail running. It is like really cool.
Winning is fun.
So then she kind of wanted to do more trail running. Then we just like started, and then plus, I mean, she actually like really liked it too. But that became, you know, and then it was like, then she talked me into the 50K. So she's like very persuasive. So, but it was also I did really start to love it. So yeah.
Did it become, like, when does it become, or did it become competitive, like racing? What motivates the racing early on and now? Like, how's kind of the evolution of
For
your...
me, like, it's like, I'm like, I was mid-pack. I'd say I'm like closer to back of the pack now. For me, it was, you know, because I started running so late, I started getting faster. So I'm like PRing in my 40s. And I'm like, okay, well, this is pretty cool. Like, this is making me feel better. So I really feel like for me, it was always like competing just against myself. And then I qualified for Boston, and I ran Boston, which if you had told me like 15 years ago, I would have never in a million years thought that I would have like ever qualified for Boston. So it was just like all these things, and it was kind of just like, oh, like I can do this kind of stuff, like, and like hard things, you know? Yeah. And then I found that also started to like seep into other areas of my life too. Like you get this like confidence, or just like knowing that you can handle things that are like a little more challenging. And then just like the discipline from the training and things like that. So I can't remember what the question was.
No, I mean, I think that's a beautiful answer, and I love the extrapolating, like running into the rest of your life. But
Yeah.
like from, I think according to Ultra Signups, you have some races coming up. So like,
I do, yeah.
what motivates
I'm woefully,
you to?
like, undertrained. I have one in a week and a half. That's like really hard, and I'm not trained for it. But we'll see what happens. Like, you know, so. I mean, so it's one in Oregon. I have never run there before.
Okay.
So worst case, I'm going to see some really awesome trails and hopefully make it to the finish line. But that's the plan. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, that one. And then I'm going back to a race in Utah that I had attempted, like kind of right after the pandemic, and I didn't really train for it. So actually, I need to start training for it now because it's in like 2 months. But so I kind of want redemption. I made it like 80 miles for that one, so I want to go back and finish it. It's really pretty. So
Of 100.
yeah.
So
So
close,
pretty
so
good.
close, but
Yeah,
like
it's pretty
also
far.
very far.
Well,
Yeah,
pretty
that's
20 miles is a long way.
a long way to grind.
Yeah, but like 20 miles on road is way longer than like
Yeah.
like longer than
Yes.
20 miles on trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other like extraordinary thing about racing for you is the races that you actually don't run in, but you volunteer
Yeah.
and crew.
Yeah.
So like tell what kind of inspires you, keeps you connected to doing that part
when I
of
very first started trail running, I didn't know anything. Like, I think I had done like a couple trail runs, and I ended up volunteering at Marin Ultra Challenge, and I was a course marshal, and I feel really bad for anyone running that race because like I pointed them in the right direction, but I didn't know anything. Like, people were like, do you know what mile is or how many miles to Muir Beach? I'm like, I don't know. Like, you know, like I literally like didn't know anything. And I was like, and I remember I was like relieving someone, and I was like, well, where do you go to the bathroom? And they're like, what? Like on the trail. I'm like, okay. You know,
See that
it was
bush
like-
over there?
I like didn't
make
know
sure it's not poison
anything. And so I had to like stand, it was like on, like it was a Highway 1, like the road to go to Muir Beach. So I was just like standing there to make sure they made it across. And it's just like, just seeing like all these like different people like coming through and just like, you know, like running strong. I just feel like I like picked up a lot. Like it just like I was like, oh, the energy's really good. And then I went and like volunteered at the finish line after that, and just like seeing people come in, and like I started to like just kind of learn. Like I didn't really know a lot of people in the community at that time, and that's like a really good way to get involved when you're volunteering. You can meet a lot of people, you know, and you learn a lot that you can then apply to like your own races. Maybe it's like what not to do, or maybe like what to do. And then it just, whenever like I run a race, I'm so appreciative of the volunteers that have like given up their time, and they're just here to like help you like finish this race, that like I wanted to like give that back to other people too. And it's just like, now I know so many people. When I'm at a race, I'm probably going to see somebody I know, and it's like I get like, I'm like so excited. And it's like, it's cool when you're in a race and you see someone that's like volunteering that you know, you're like, oh, like it's just like this like boost. So I love like seeing like friends and like people I know in the community like succeed and like have great races, or maybe they're not having a great race and you can help them a little bit. So like it's a really great way to like be a part of the community, especially if you're injured too. Like I know it's hard sometimes, because when you're injured, you like hate everyone that can run, you know, like, you're, like even though it's like not rational, you're like mad at your friends for not inviting you on a run, but you can't run. But it is like, if you can kind of get over that disappointment that you're not running, it's like a really great way to still feel like a part of it. So, but yeah, like my favorite race to volunteer for, I think it's been like 8 years I've been volunteering, is the Quad Dipsy, which I've never officially run. Like I've never actually run it, but like that is like the best. Everyone should sign up for it this year. Registration opens on Tuesday. It's the 40th year. But that would be a good first ultra. For you guys. It's only 28 miles. It's only 2 miles more. It's only 2 miles more than a marathon.
Which, like, we still feel like a marathon is pretty far.
Yeah, but you can hike a bunch. It's really fun. It's super fun. So.
According to someone, this might be only one more mile than a marathon.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Jesse's the unofficial finish line guy.
Yes, that's right.
What does that mean?
So I stand at the crossing, like right outside the aid station. So you come in at the turnaround point, and then you go back out, and then you see me like right before you finish. So I make sure no one gets hit by a car. Which
That's
I almost
important.
got hit by a car though once. Like this guy like tried to run me down. He was so pissed about waiting. Anyway, no runners have ever been hit by a car. So, but it's really fun, because you get to see like the leaders. You get to see all your friends. You're there when they finish. So yeah. So if anyone wants to volunteer this year, just let me know.
How do you choose? So there's obviously like a history with Quad Dipsy. How do you choose which events to volunteer for?
It's usually like I kind of stick like a lot of the same ones. Like I usually I haven't the last 2 years because of travel or whatever, but Marin Ultra Challenge, like Quad Dipsy, Western States. It's just a races that I feel like a little bit of a connection to, or that are like a smaller, like, I mean, I know Western States isn't smaller, but like Quad Dipsy just feels like it's like a party with like, it's the end of the year, like it's Thanksgiving weekend, it's like right before the holidays, like you get to see everyone before the holidays. It's just like, that is like the best vibe like at that race. And I know I'm gonna see like a lot of people. Oh, and it's like 4 minutes from my house.
That helps.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's it. It's just like, I'll volunteer at like the smaller type races usually than like a big, larger one. But if someone asks me, I usually help anyway. So.
When you see someone having a hard time out there, you mentioned like you can give them support. What does support from you look like?
It kind of depends. Like, it depends if I know the person. It depends, like, is this like in the middle of the night at 100 miler? So if it's someone I know, I may just like tailor it to their personality. Like, do they need like tough love, or, like I had a friend who was running the Quad Dipsy, and she came in, she looked totally fine. And she's like, I don't know if I feel like going back out. I'm like, yeah, you're going back out. And she did. And she was like, oh yeah, I was like, I just, was fine. But then, I just crewed, Kadi and I crewed our friend Jack at TRT 2 weekends ago, and he was really, really sick. It was like in the middle of the night, like couldn't eat. And we just, he was like, I don't know if he was kidding. He said he wanted to drop, and I was like, well, no, like you're not going to do that. But we let him like sleep for like 2 hours and eat. And it's just like, you just kind of have to read, like, do I need to be like kind of nurturing, or do I need to be like get out of here. Like Max, when we crewed him at Western States, you were sitting for a little too long. Like you were really good. He was really, really good. But you were just like, you were done what you needed to do. And I'm like, get up. Like, so it's, but he was,
Max the machine
yeah,
needed to read.
yeah, like they changed his socks and stuff. And then he was like still sitting there. I'm like, get like up now, like you're fine. So it's kind of like, I'm always like, beware the chair. Like I usually don't let people sit for more than a minute in like 100-miler. If I'm crewing you, FYI, you get a minute.
You get
like,
1 minute.
1 minute, yeah. So yeah, it's kind of just like, what do they need? Do they need like encouragement, or do they maybe just? I always have like a first aid kit of like stomach stuff, because like if you have upset stomach, so I have like all these like pills and stuff. Maybe I need to give them some of that, or sometimes it's just
Wow.
like.
Can you travel with me everywhere?
I have it's like the kit is like actually in my trunk right now. I have it like I take it everywhere, and it's like a foot care and a stomach care kit. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
So it kind of just depends.
Yeah.
Like if they. But I definitely I'd say I run more towards like tough love than like coddling. So.
Well, I think sometimes
David can speak to that too. Like when you wanted to drop at me, I was like, absolutely not. Yeah.
I think sometimes we all need someone to just say like, you can do it.
Yeah.
You
Obviously,
know?
if I think someone is really in a bad place or it's like not the right call, then I wouldn't do that. But usually, you just feel like shit. So. Yeah.
You did Western, not this past year,
The
but the
year
year
before. Yeah.
What was, we heard a little bit from Max
Yeah.
about your experience crewing, and that you also, of course, you volunteered to map the course, which is
Yeah.
amazing. But who crewed you, and what did you need when you were running Western?
So I had like my OG crew, which was like Debbie and Jocelyn, and they said they were like, this is the last time we're crewing you. You got into Western States. This is like your wedding. We know you're not getting married again. This is like your wedding. Because I have a hard time like asking people for stuff.
Yeah.
And they were like, I was like, no, you don't have to come to start. They were like, look, you're not getting married. Just pretend this is like, ask us to do stuff. I was like, well, all right, now that you mention it. So they came up, and then I had Kadi, who paced me, and then my friend Veronica and my friend Darlene. And then my brother flew out from Vermont. He was the one that had inspired me to initially start running way back when. And he came out and paced me. And he had never paced or run at night before, and he was like amazing. So he talked to my friends gave him tips. I could tell I was running with him. I'm like, somebody talk to him. Like, cause I was like, all right. And then Kadi was like an amazing pacer. So I finished with 9 minutes to spare. So it was, kind of stressful. Like I knew going into it that the race did not play to my strengths, and that I'd be chasing cutoffs like the whole time. Like I knew that. Like I had a laminated thing with like the cutoff. So it was an absolutely amazing experience. Like nothing went wrong, but it was like it was like kind of mentally tough. Like I could never like relax. You're always just like how. And then at the end, like I really had to run, and Kadi was like amazing at getting me to run. She's a really good pacer. So, but it was like so awesome. And then I pop out, and because it's golden hour, and then you pop out at Robie Point, and there must have been like 20 people that I didn't know that weren't in my crew, like waiting for me, that ran me in, and I was like. I almost started to cry, but I was so dehydrated that nothing came out. So it was like, but I was like crying on the inside. I was like crying on the. It was just like really like emotional and like special. And then like I had the whole ninja crew was there, and it was just like really, it was really awesome and special. So, yeah. I mean, would it have been nice if I was a little faster? Yeah, but I feel like I ran it to the best of my ability, and like you can never be disappointed with like that result. So, and I finished. So. Yeah.
Yeah, those golden hours.
I was like making everyone very nervous. Like it was like because it was like 9 minutes to spare. That's like not that much. So, but yeah. So, but yeah, it's dramatic.
It is.
Yeah.
So what is it like chasing cutoffs the entire time?
It sucks pretty hard.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's just like you have no room for error.
Yeah.
Like nothing can really go wrong. Like I never stopped to change my socks or anything. Like I just didn't have time. It was like, I was like, I'm pretty good in aid stations. Like I'm in and out like pretty fast. In Western States, the volunteers, like even where you don't have crew, it's like amazing. It's like a pit crew. They get you in and out. But yeah, it was just kind of this I didn't let it get to me because I knew that that was going to be the case. I was like, just run, like just keep running, like just like do the best that you can and don't like waste time, or you know, like if you have time to waste at the end, then fine. But yeah, it was, yeah, I was like, there's definitely something going on my foot, but I cannot like stop to look at it. So I guess, like,
It'd be better that way.
oh yeah, it probably was. Yeah. It was like,
And are you the kind of person, like, do you want people to tell you how much time you have, or is it just like,
And that-
I'm okay, I'm gonna
no,
make it?
I want people like, but I knew too. Like
Oh,
I
yeah,
was like,
yes.
I knew because I knew that that was going to be an issue. Yes, I would, but I would want like my pacer. Kadi was like amazing because she knew exactly like what we needed to run to get me there. So if I just like had to kind of just stay behind her and like I didn't really, I could kind of like not think and just like follow her. And I knew she would get me there to the finish if I didn't fall apart, which, you know, could happen. So, but I was lucky, like, not, like really, like nothing bad happened. Like, it was like, I'm just kind of slow. So it's like, it's fine.
You made it.
Yeah,
That's
I
all
made
that
it. Oh yeah,
matters.
that's all that matters. Yeah. So
What was it like? I mean, had you crewed it before you ran it?
yes, I had paced there before.
Okay.
I'd done course marking, so I had seen like all of the course, which I think is really helpful, like especially in the high country, because that's the first part is what a lot of people don't get to see. They don't have the training run on there. And it's hard, the terrain's harder there. So I think like doing that, and I had over the years, before I was even putting my name in the lottery, I had done the training runs just because I thought it was really fun, except for that one time where I wanted to be in the house by myself. So, but yeah.
What did you do in the house by
I like
yourself?
just watch TV because I had a roommate, like I was like, I'm gonna watch really dumb TV, and I think I just laid on the couch and watched TV and like took a nap or something because it was like all quiet.
That's great.
Yeah. I live by myself now, so it's like fine. I can do that. Like, I do that like pretty regularly, but you know, so, yeah. So.
I think that like sometimes it can feel intimidating or overwhelming to put yourself in those situations. Like I would never think to go to a Western States training run unless I'm training for Western States or
Yeah.
that's the goal.
A
Like,
lot of people do though. Like a lot of
Interesting.
people go. It's just like it's super fun. It's like a way to see the course. Maybe people that don't like ever want to do the race, you know, or maybe they're trying to see if they want to. But it's just like a really because it's kind of like a race and that it's supported, but there's like no timing. It's like super chill. Everyone's just like having fun and having it. Okay. You should try that.
is it?
sometime.
I mean,
It's
sounds
Memorial
fun.
Day weekend. Yeah.
Is it open to anyone?
To
who wants
anybody?
do
Yeah,
it?
yeah, totally. Anyone can do it. It's really fun. There's 3 days. You could just pick which day. You don't have to do all 3 days. You could just do one day.
I could just sit alone in a house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You can, and then you can sit alone in a
Chill.
house like one day and then run the other day. Yeah, yeah.
We could do that.
When you think about like everything you've experienced in running in the community, what stands out for you most? Is it the beauty of the trails? Is it the people?
Honestly,
is it pushing
it's
yourself?
really like the people. Like, you know, I feel like it's like my family out here. You know, I've made so many amazing like friends. I have like so many awesome people in my life, and a lot of them are here like right now, like through running that I wouldn't have met otherwise. You know, and I feel like so grateful for that. You know, I don't have family like out here, so I just feel like so supported by them. Like they're so everyone's like so supportive of everyone else. And then the beauty of the trails is like a very, yeah, that's, I mean, we're so lucky to live here. And I was actually just talking to Lorene about this today, like how like every day, I've lived here for 21 years. Every day I wake up and I'm like, I am so lucky to be here. This is like so amazing, you know? And I like try to take that with me, like on a run and stuff too. Like I feel so grateful. It doesn't always work if I'm not feeling like that great, but you know, like, but I do try. But yeah, but mostly I'm like just so grateful for like all of my friends. I think, you know, before I started running too, I didn't really have like, I didn't really feel like I had an identity. Like I moved out here, I like had gotten divorced and I just like started working and I was like, you know, I had been married all through my 20s, so it was like my 30s. So I was like going out like drinking and stuff, and then it was like I didn't really do anything. Like I didn't really feel like I had, you know, it's like, oh, what do you like to do for fun? I'm like, I don't know, nothing. Like, you know, I would go to like see a lot of concerts and stuff, but and then I slowly like as I slowly started getting into running, it was like. It's not that my identity's all wrapped up in it, but it's like this piece of my life that I love so much, and it's like really become part of me. And I like to think that even if I couldn't run anymore, I would still be like involved in some way, or hiking, or, you know, like something like, and I just feel like really grateful for having that in my life. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. Like, how does running and everything that you do seep into the other parts of your life? Like when you're with your family or when you're with
Yeah.
friends that don't run?
Well, luckily my brother and most of my family, except for my parents, the family I have in the U.S., they're actually runners. So it's actually super cool. Like we'll all go do a family run together. It's like really awesome. But you know, I didn't used to run, so that's like a new-ish thing. And I think when most of my friends do run, but I have friends from when I first moved here that I'm still like really good friends with, that we still just connect on those things that we connected on like when we first met. So, did I answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, do people like outside of this community or that you interact with, like at work, or do
Oh,
they
yeah.
know?
I mean, they know I run, like, but you know how it is when you like talk to someone that doesn't run, and they're like, you tell them you did a 100-miler, and it's like, oh, did you sleep? Like, I don't like to drive that far. You know, like all those those things. So I weirdly, as much as I love talking about running, I don't really like talking about it that much with people that don't.
Oh,
Because I feel like
yeah.
it's like, I don't know, because I'm like, no, you just like run. And then they're like, how long does it take you? Like 12 hours, like 100 miles? I'm like, no, like, it's like really
Yes,
hard.
I
And
set
there's,
a
like, lot-
course record.
You know how like if you don't like run, you're
Yeah.
just like, or they just think like, oh, it's like 4 marathons.
Right.
12 hours.
Right.
That's like you're a fast runner, or do it in 12 hours, right? So I just like the whole I'm like, yeah, no. I'm like, yeah, no. It's like a day and a half probably for me. So yeah, but luckily I talk a lot, so I can find other stuff to talk to people about.
See, mine is like, oh, you're a runner, and then I'm like, do you want to know everything about my race? Can I tell you about like how many times I peed before and like how my stomach felt? Yeah, it's not.
Well, I mean, I get all that out like when I'm on runs with
Yeah,
my
with other
friends.
people.
Yeah, so yeah.
What's like you've run, you've raced, you've crewed, you've volunteered. Like what kind of if you were trying to convince someone to run.
Yeah.
What's like a fun story or a story that like lights you up or you think is kind of emblematic of the magic of
Well,
this community?
I think being like either volunteering at like a 100-miler or being at the finish line of like an ultra or a 100-miler is like the most inspiring thing. Like just seeing, whether someone it's like finished first or whether they finished last, they all covered the same distance. And like just seeing like what people like overcome. There's that saying like you go through a life in a day or a day and a half for me, like over a race. But it is like you do go through like all these emotions, and to see people like come back from when just feeling so bad. Like when I was talking about like when we were crewing my friend Jack, like he couldn't eat, he couldn't move, like it was like nothing, and we were kind of like, all right, we'll let him finish. And then I was like, well, let's just go hike. And he's like, yeah, let's go hike. And he finished and then like crushed it. We almost missed him at the finish. He like ended up running so fast that I'm like, yeah, I'm making iced coffee and like walking around. And we got there like 1 minute. He's probably watching this now. Sorry, Jack. We almost missed your finish. But we got there like 1 minute before. And it was like so inspiring. And I was like, wow, like he just like, he felt so sick and he just like got up. It's like, you feel like, you're like, all right. It's just like so inspiring, and then you like to think that you can take that with you, like in your next race, or just something that's hard. I mentioned earlier like how it's like moved into other aspects of my life. Like I don't like if something happens at work, like I don't stress out now. It's just like, okay, wait, what do we need to do to like solve the problem? Because that's what you have to do in an ultra. Like you can't freak out.
Yeah.
You feel bad. Like if you feel really good in an ultra, like you should enjoy that moment because you're probably going to feel really bad. Yeah. And if you feel really bad, there's a good chance it will go away.
Yeah.
It may not. And then you're just like, okay, this is just like how I'm going to feel to the end, but it's like spilled over into these other areas of my life where I just feel like I handle like stressful situations where I just don't freak out. It's like, all right, well, what do we need to do to like fix this kind of thing? So, I don't know if I answered.
Yeah,
Like
the bounce back, like, seeing that play out in running is so powerful because like it is so true in life, but I think there are so few ways to like see it in a measured, like a race is a measured thing.
Yeah.
And so you can actually say like, I saw you feel like shit
Yep.
from mile 20 to 40.
Yeah.
And then I saw you race your little heart out
Yep.
from 40 to 60.
Yeah.
And like life doesn't offer you that many moments to do that. At work, you might be like, this project felt like shit and then it kind of got a little better and then it didn't.
Yeah.
But it's very hard to like
Yeah.
measure it like
Yeah.
the way that a race does. And I think that's just so powerful to be able to have that.
I totally agree. And I also think it's like, we do this, it's by choice, right? So we're choosing to be uncomfortable. It's why I do have a problem with people that complain a lot in races. Like, if you're like, oh, I have a bad blister or something, but if you're really complaining, like, you signed up to do this. So like, I have like no patience for someone that's like, what? Like, I don't know, they don't like the flavor goo, whatever. So, it's like we chose to do this, but it's like everything in our lives now is like meant to make us like more comfortable. So we're choosing, and that's probably like part of why we're drawn to it, right? We're choosing to do something that's making ourselves like really uncomfortable. But I don't know, there's nothing I love more than like right the night after a race, and I'm like totally wrecked. It's like you're so wrecked. But it's like the best feeling. Like,
it is.
Like
That feeling of like emptying your tank.
Yeah.
Like you tested yourself, you got to a place that you never got to
Yeah.
before, and it was safe. Like
Yeah.
you're not gonna,
right,
it feels like
right,
you're gonna
exactly,
die, but you're not actually.
exactly. Yeah. And it's like, and then also like doing more than you like thought you could. Like, I like failed gym class, like when I was in high school. Like I didn't do anything. Like people that knew me from when I grew up, like could not believe that I would run 100. Like I like would cut gym class. Like I couldn't run a mile. Like I couldn't do anything. And it is pretty like opposite to my personality up until like, my early 30s. I just like did everything to like make myself comfortable. Like, no, it's hot. There's like bugs there. Like, I still don't like bugs. Like I still don't. Yeah, that's gross. But so I don't know. I think there's just something. You carry that around with you, whether you're running or not. And even if you don't run anymore, like you've done these really hard things, and I think you carry that around with you. So.
What are kind of your go-to strategies when you are in a run or a race and you're not mentally you're not feeling good, not physically, you're just not
Yeah,
mentally.
I mean, usually a lot of times I'm like, okay, well, I've done this enough that I know that it may turn around.
Yeah.
So I may put some music on, like that helps me. And then sometimes I'm like, well, it's just gonna feel like shit till the end of this race. But then I'm gonna feel really good when I'm done. And then I'm gonna like, eat a ton of something, food or whatever. And then I'm gonna feel really wrecked and I'm not gonna sleep and my legs are gonna be twitchy. But then the next couple days I'm gonna sleep a lot. It's gonna be really awesome. So, but that's like how I just kind of am like, yeah, this might just be, but I think because I've done it enough, like I've had those lows like enough times that I know that they're not forever usually. I had one race where I didn't feel better, but I changed like my mental. I was like, yep, this is just like how it's gonna be. You're just gonna feel really sick. It was like at altitude and I just wasn't feeling good. And I just was like, okay, that's just like how it is till the end of this race. That's cool. Just finish the race. And I did. So, and then I felt much better when I was done. It's just like the accomplishment just feels so good, So
Yeah.
it outweighs all of that. Like I call it like trail amnesia when you forget like how bad or like you forget how hard a trail is sometimes. Like I'll be on a trail, I'm like, oh, I didn't remember this like giant climb. Like, I'm like I totally will get like trail amnesia. And just it's the same thing kind of. You forget the bad stuff, which I guess is like childbirth, right? You're like, no, I remember it. Oh, okay.
I was like, I'll get an epidural every year.
Yeah.
Give me one. It was great.
You mentioned that your family is runners. Like, are they 5K turkey trot runners or are they like ultra 100-mile runners?
So my brother, well, actually my uncle, my mom's English and we spent our summers growing up in England, and my uncle started running, it was in the 70s, running boom.
Yeah.
And we would stay at my grandparents that lived in this village, and there was this big hill, and they would do this race that would run up this hill, and it would blow my mind. I'm like, how does somebody run? I just can't even.
Yeah.
So that kind of always stuck in my head. And then my brother started running probably his late teen years maybe. And I just was like, oh, that's so cool. And he would run Boston. I'm like, he's so awesome. He's, so fast and stuff. And then it was kind of just like how I talked about like how I like got into it. He was never like, oh, you should run too, but it was just kind of like I started, and then whenever we get together now, that's like when we get like to like really catch up and everything. Like we'll go for a run, and then my nieces are like total like kick ass like cross country. Like they're just both like, well, my one niece is like going into college now. The other one's already there. They're like super fast, like with long legs, like really fast. So, but yeah. So, yeah.
I'm curious what the hardest part of trail running is for you. Like, are you really great on the climbs?
I love climbing, and I suck so bad at technical downhill. It's like ridiculous.
Same.
Yeah, it's like really bad. I've been like practicing trying to get better, but it's not working. So.
For me, it's fear. Like
It's funny
I'm gonna
'cause
fall
I
and
used to be
die.
better when I was younger, and now like I think it's like I don't feel like I'm scared, but I think it's like I fall. I mean I'm actually due for a pretty good fall. Sometimes
no.
No, I mean it's fine. It's fine. I fall like a lot, but so I don't feel like it traumatizes me, but I feel like my brain is like thinking that it's. I find I actually do better on technical down when it's dark out because I can't see. Like you're just kind of looking at like where your headlamp is. You're not looking at all the other stuff. So yeah.
See, this is why. This is why.
This is why you don't want to run at 4:30 with us in the morning.
No, the sun will come up
Yeah,
at
it
some
does.
point.
And actually, that run's not like technical. It's fine.
Meanwhile, I'm like, ah.
But yeah, that's like my downfall. I lose a lot of time on like on technical downhill. I'm too slow. So
That's hard. I think
Yeah.
that's the hardest part too.
yeah.
Well, before we ask some, final hard-hitting journalistic questions, Jessi's in the hot seat, so
Oh
let's ask
man,
some
Ted,
let's
what? You
open
stuck
it
your
up to the
hand up like
audience.
way too fast.
Oh, Ted wants the mic too.
Yeah. Oh,
Or wait,
got a
there's a
post-it.
post-it.
we love
What's
it.
happening right now?
Yeah, I have notes.
Oh man.
I might be the only person in this room that's met her parents, right?
Yeah.
And stayed at
yes.
the parents' house? Yeah.
Yes, you are. Yes, that is
So
correct.
the first question is, who in Vermont is watching right now?
My parents are watching,
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
So-
And my brother's at their house, so he might be watching
Cool.
too. So hi.
So I tried to do the Grand Slam in 2018, and Vermont is the second race after Western States. Her mom and dad live
Like on the course, basically.
Basically
It's
on
like
the course?
it's like a half mile off the course. Yeah.
So we were doing some run, and she's like, "Hey, you're gonna stay with me, my parents."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Okay." So I got her a ticket. We went out there, and I got to experience. And now I understand so much about Jessi because I met her dad.
Oh yeah, my dad. Yeah, I definitely take after my dad. It's like
Oh, my
we make like a short story long. Like that's like yeah.
It was awesome. I appreciate that, and it
Yeah.
was one of the. I mean, the race was Vermont's a great race
Yeah,
too, but
it is.
it was the
Yeah, my-
highlight of the trip
Yeah.
was
My
staying
parents are really cool. Yeah,
with
they're-
the trip
yeah,
there.
yeah.
And I wanted you to, because she's kind of understating how much trail work she did this year. So can you give us the short version
Can I don't know.
of the Western States Devil's Thumb? Oh yeah, I'll just come help you guys.
Yeah.
15-hour day.
Well, I had done trail work a few days out on the Western States course, like starting in November.
So mosquito fire, the trail's
Yeah.
destroyed. There's 16 miles of trail to be fixed before the race, and I don't know, 5,000 hours of volunteer work to get the trail fixed.
Yeah, so I had gone out like starting in November. So I had done a few days like of trail work prior to this this day, and I like every day every time I did trail work, I went up and I like stopped in the Starbucks in Auburn. Oh wait, I'm making the story long. Sorry. Anyway, I was going in the Starbucks and
What
like
did you order?
and like
know what you ordered
and
from
like
Starbucks
John Katz, who was the head of the trail work, and like Craig and like Matt, those guys would just happen to be. We didn't plan to meet, but they would also go. So we would like sit and have our coffee and then go do trail work. So that one day we were there. And I was like, yeah, I'm staying up here for the week and whatever. They're like, so well, what are you doing like later? Like, do you have time? I'm like, yeah, whatever. I got nothing to do. They're like, do you want to have a long day? I'm like, yeah, sure. So we ended up, we started, I think at like 8 or 9. I don't know. I got back to the hotel at midnight. So it was like 14 hours, I think, of 13 hours we were out doing trail work on 17 miles, like to clear like the trail because you couldn't drive in. So we had to like hike out apart. So yeah, it was that actually felt like an ultra. Like, you know how I was saying, I love that feeling when I'm all wrecked and I came home. Nothing was even open to get food. And I'm like, luckily had like a protein shake in my hotel room. And I was like, it felt like I ran like a 50K. Like, but it was super fun and satisfying. And then I did, I can't remember if I did another couple days after, a day or two after that. So
Like trail work, like, are you moving logs? What do you do?
yeah,
Like,
so like they have like guys that are like chainsaw, and then like I obviously can't do that as much as I would have loved to, but I like your help, like so they're just cutting and then they leave it and then we would like move it out of the way or like trimming stuff, like loppers, like just like like making the trail because it also had to be. It's not just for runners, but it's like a multi-use trail. So it's like ATVs and then also for the horses. Mm-hmm. So it's like could be wide enough for runner, but you actually need to make it runner for like wider for like the horses. And then also like horses, is Carolyn here? She can back up. Like I think they don't like stuff to touch them up high. So you'd have to like actually trim up higher than like what it would be like for a runner. So it was just, and then a lot of times it's just like flattening out the trail and stuff like that. So, but it ended up looking really awesome. Like the trail looked really good. So
again, the understatement. You finished the day. The last 2 miles were.
Oh, up Devil's Thumb.
Yeah.
Carrying tools. Like yeah.
So that's how she finished the day.
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
I didn't even know we were on Devil's Thumb. It was like the dark. I was like, yeah, we're just going up. Like it's fine. I like climbing.
Love that. Who else has a question?
And she did have she wasn't so dehydrated at the end of the stage she didn't cry. We were all crying at the
Yeah. Maybe by the time I got to the finish, a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Max.
What's your favorite race and why?
That I've run or that. That would be Western States. It was just so amazing. Like the trail, like the volunteers, like the aid stations, like seeing everyone, like the energy, but then also like, you know, there's so many people there, but when you're actually out on the trail, it's just you and like, you know, maybe a few other runners around. So it's like this weird thing, like you do feel kind of like by yourself with the trail, and then you come into like the larger aid stations and there's like a lot of people. So yeah, that race there's a reason why it's like so popular and like so hard to get in. It's really awesome. David and Max can back me up, right?
It's not because just send some love to Katya because she's going hysterical on the other side of you.
Oh, what is she doing?
Is she asking questions? Did she have a question in the chat?
Oscar has a question, but like she really wants to be noticed because she's not here. She's
Okay.
crying.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we love you.
I know, she was sad. Yeah.
So Katerina Lan is texting to me.
Okay, go.
She's asking me to ask her 4 rapid fire questions.
Let's do it.
You
All right.
Oscar, come up and ask
I
it.
can say from here. I can say it from here.
No, but they can't hear you.
Okay. Are you planning, if you ever run quad instead of volunteering?
I don't know. I love volunteering at the quad like so much. And it's like you get all the benefits of running the race without actually having to run it. So you don't have to.
Someone just should register her.
Destination dream race.
I don't know if it'd be a race, but I want to go run in the Dolomites in Italy. So.
What is the race you have done and cherished the most?
That's Western States, yeah.
Okay, the last one. What is the funniest advice anyone has ever given you? about running?
Funniest? Wow, I don't know.
I feel like often it's like bad advice. Like the funniest advice tends to be like bad advice, you know?
Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm. Thank you. You just
Yeah.
like made me think of a bunch. There was a guy that like loved to mansplain stuff to me and was like telling me, I was like running and I was like totally ahead of him. And he was like telling me to like pick up my feet. Like, and I was like, I'm fine. Like I'm running fine. I'm in front of you. Like, anyway, so yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah.
Well, today, funny because today in my workout, you know, I was doing 400s and I was doing a lot of them. And I was like, what am I going to tell myself in every rep? And I was like, pick up your feet.
Yeah. Oh, no way. That's okay. I mean, it was the delivery that was like
hey,
kind of funny. Yeah.
I'm behind you,
Yeah.
but you know, it might help if you pick up your feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I-
Typical. Was he sitting like this? Or like
It's kind of funny because I've actually fallen a few times because I didn't pick up my feet. But he didn't know that.
Right,
Yeah,
right. You
like,
were
he didn't know
shuffling
that.
along.
Yeah, I wasn't shuffling at that moment. So,
Yeah.
So we got a question
We-
from YouTube
okay.
from Christina Vincent.
Oh, yeah.
Asking,
Christina.
hi Jessi, do you have any trail nicknames, and if so, which is your favorite?
Ooh.
You guys can, is it Rioja? What is it?
Roja, but that's
Right.
Spanish for red.
Yeah, and then
Rioja.
you always say
Pelirroja.
Pelirroja, yeah. And then I was given the name Mad Hatter. I don't know, it hasn't stuck yet though, so I think we're fine. Because I look like Johnny Depp in the Alice in Wonderland. Google the picture. Google the picture of Johnny Depp as Mad Hatter, and you wait till you see his hair, and you will get it. It's like big orange like curls sticking out like this side. So yeah.
Any questions?
Any other questions?
We have some other more rapid fire.
Oh, Ted.
Oh man, Ted. I love how you're like laughing before you ask the question. Like,
It's like a sinister smirk.
He
over
has
there.
like a maniacal grin on his face right now.
Over 40.
I'm over.
40-year-old goal.
I'm over 50.
I know. I didn't want to say that out loud, but
Oh, I don't care. I never lie about my age. Like,
what was your goal before you were 40? New Jersey specific.
Oh. So I grew up in New Jersey, which is a state where you don't have to pump gas. And then I had never pumped gas, and I moved here when I was 30. And I had, I've been known to kind of do these like dumb kind of like challenges that nobody challenges me to, but I just like, make them up myself. So I decided I didn't want to pump gas before I was 40 because I had a friend's mom who was in her 60s and lived in a state where you had to pump gas, and she had never pumped gas. So I did make it until I was like 41 before I ever pumped gas, and that included living here for 11 years where you have to, so yeah.
Okay, I have 2 follow-ups.
I also didn't wear pants for 14 months, and that was pretty recent. That was during the pandemic. Yeah.
One, I'm gonna have to see some ID because I don't believe you for a second that you're
No,
over
I
50.
am.
And 2, was it all just full service? Like,
Well,
gas in California is
I
expensive.
should preface it, like I didn't have a car for a lot of
Oh,
it. But I would rent cars or like get Zip car, and it was weird. When I would tell people this like goal, they were weirdly supportive and would like just pump my gas for me. So like I remember I had like gone down to help a friend with like work. It was in Santa Cruz. It was like a total like rainstorm, and I had to get gas, and the gas station was like, he's like, yeah, all right, I'll go with you to pump your gas. Like I was like, and I didn't. It was just like people were supportive of the goal.
I love this
Yeah.
so
So yeah.
You
And then
manifested it.
yeah, I
and it was like,
manifested
the
it,
universe
and
was like, sure.
people were really supportive.
Did you ever ask strangers at
Yeah,
gas
yeah.
station?
Oh yeah.
Were you like, will you pump my
Yeah,
gas?
and then it was like then when I started driving more, I was like starting to come into Marin. I'm like, this is too much. I gotta just like pump my own gas. So and it's not even hard. Like,
Wait, tell us about the first experience pumping gas. Did you know
it
what
was
to do?
pretty stressful because I didn't know you had to like hook the thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, why isn't it coming
And
out?
sometimes it like doesn't work
like,
really well.
I was doing it and let go. It was like come out for a second. I'm like, it's not full yet. Like, yeah. So, yeah. Luckily, no one was there to see that. I was by myself. So.
Do you have any of these like kind of not wearing pants that might?
I didn't
have
wear
been running
pants.
related?
Yeah, you guys all know about that. Like I didn't wear pants for 50 years. I was only wore short. I went to like a Thanksgiving dinner and like, oh no, I wore a skirt. Yeah, but I couldn't wear anything on my legs. That was the rule that I made up myself.
Yeah. I have one weird one that I do, which is like if I'm walking, like usually like around my neighborhood, somewhere safe, I'll see how many steps I can take with my eyes closed.
That's
like,
a
make
good
sure there
one.
aren't like cars around.
Yeah, yeah.
But like around 15 steps, like you will have.
No, it's like-
you will be like, oh, I
Yeah.
really want to
No,
open
it's
my
really
eyes.
hard when you
Then
close
I'm
your
like,
eyes
you
to
gotta
do
go like
stuff.
50.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have like a bet with myself.
That,
I'm like, do
I
it.
like it. That's like really, that's a
Do
good
it.
one. Yeah.
Try it.
All right, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna like for sure.
You're gonna like.
You'll
text
get
me
a
and be
text and I'll be like,
I
I totally fell. Like, yeah.
That's your next big fall. Yeah. You're doing Bridget
That's your next big
challenge.
Sometimes I do the like I can't step on a crack thing.
Oh yeah,
just
that's
for
you break your
fun.
mama's back.
But like I don't. Then I get bored with it and like whatever.
That was from when we were kids. I remember that.
yeah,
one.
that was from when we were.
Yeah.
What do you have anything like that going on now?
No, but if anyone has any ideas, I'm open to suggestions. So.
Any other questions from the crowd? Okay.
I just feel like there's so much more to learn.
I know.
Well, you should come out on a trail run with me because I will talk your ear off.
I 100% will. It might not be at 4:30
We don't
in the
know.
morning.
We can do it at whatever time you want.
Great.
Okay.
Are we ready for some more
Yeah.
fun rapid fire
Yeah.
questions? You already got like you're
Yeah.
primed. You're ready to go. Favorite place for a long run in the Bay Area?
Anything with Tam. Like I love going up Tam.
Also, what do you consider a long run?
Oh yeah.
A long run would be like about 20 miles. Like 18 to 20
Yeah.
is like a long run. Yeah.
Fair. If you could go on a long run with anyone, who would it be?
I actually have thought about this one because I've heard you ask it before, but we had a friend that we met on TAM. I was doing this like TAM challenge, Lucas Huron, who unfortunately passed away suddenly a couple years ago. And not long before he passed away, he had like texted me to go on a TAM summit, and I couldn't go because it was like in the evening, and you know I get up at 4, and I didn't go. So I like always kind of like regretted that. So you know that would be who I would want to go on a run with again. So he
Beautiful
was a really
answer.
fun guy. Yeah.
Yeah. As a fellow redhead, pale-skinned beauty, what is your go-to sunscreen?
This is a loaded question. Is this for running or?
Yeah,
for,
right.
Okay,
Well,
for running.
I want all, but
Okay,
we'll start
we
running.
can have a whole conversation.
yeah,
after.
let's go.
I'm
Let's
like
sidebar.
I actually carry my sunscreen with me when I run, and my pacers have know that I have like tried to put sunscreen on them at like the end of a 100-mile race. Yeah.
Sunscreen pusher. I love that.
Yeah. So Neutrogena Sport SPF 50 face for your face and body. It like it does not
good.
burn. You will not burn. It stays on. Yeah.
Love
Does
it.
it go in your eyes?
Like, yeah, not too bad. It's weirdly sometimes like if I stop and I like put too much on my forehead, it'll run in. But no, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's good. So
Yeah. Favorite final question.
okay.
Burger, burrito, pizza.
All right. If I'm on the East Coast, it's pizza. But probably a burger on the West Coast because their pizza sucks compared to East Coast pizza. Sorry.
Shots fired.
Yeah, shots
Where
fired.
do you have a favorite burger place?
No, I don't. I feel like I should have one.
Yeah.
It kind of like depends on where I am. Like it's like after a run, if I do a race, at that point, like anything is like fine.
What's on your burger?
I'm pretty like just like cheese and like
The
yeah,
normal stuff.
the normal stuff. Maybe some bacon if I'm feeling
You're feeling frisky.
feeling it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jessi, I feel like we're just scratching the surface.
I feel like I talked so much. Like,
No,
sorry.
it was perfect. I mean, a good interview is just us prompting you to tell and you going up,
Yeah,
telling
I
us
like
all
to,
about
I like
you.
to
So it's
talk a lot,
perfect.
so.
Thank you. This is so fun.
No, I
Thank you
had
for all
such a
you
great
do.
time. So it was really great, like talking with both of you. I had such a great time. Thank you, and thank
Yeah.
you for all like
Yeah.
when they came out. Like, it was really awesome.
Yay. And thank you to everyone on YouTube. We love you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.